Have you read this book? Look at this book. Ayinla Omowura, Life and Times of an Apala Legend. It's a book of history. Sooner than later, I'll be breaking down the details of this book in this studio. We'll look at the historical implication of Apala music, the philosophical influence of music. And the author of this book is Dr. Festus Adedayo. I recommend this book to you, and you would find this book on udarabooks.com. Go on udarabooks.com and get your copy. You can also contact me on 080 999 18449. 080 999 18449. And when I say contact me, chat me on WhatsApp. What's the book about? The book is a narrative of the life and times of one of the most profound and unarguably one of the most original Yoruba musicians of post-colonial Nigeria. Murdered in a barroom brawl in Abeokuta, Ogun State in 1980, Ayinla Omowura, 40 years after his timely passage, 40 years after his untimely passage, has refused to die, both in the consciousness of the people of the southwest of Nigeria, even elsewhere, as well as in the hearts and on the lips of the people. The reason Festus Adedayo decided to bring us this book, The History of Society. Ayinla Omowura's author is my guest on State Affairs, Dr. Festus Adedayo. It's good to have you in this studio.
It's a great pleasure to be here.
Yes. Happy to have you here.
It's nice being here.
How do you feel about the studio?
Wow. As they say in the local parlance, it wowed me when I came in here. I remember you took me on a tour, so to speak, of the studio and everywhere here, and I was excited. I was excited because it's an expansion of the voice of the voiceless. It will give you an opportunity to drill down, on a larger scale on issues that have to do with the people. So the people will have their voices, amplified in this studio. I must say congratulations to you and congratulations to all of us.
Thank you. You wrote this book, though we're not talking about this book, but there's no way you cannot say something. How much time did it take you to write this work?
As I discussed with you before we entered the studio, I was still bustling with energy. As at the time I wrote the book, I think I started the book. I came back from the law school in late 2019. I think I started it around November 2019. And by January, I was done with it. I spent less than 3 months writing the book. I wrote 200 and something thousand words in less than 3 months. It was crazy. I never believed that I could exhibit such energy.
So writing a book, is it just about the writing? What about the research?
Yes, I had research assistants, 2 research assistants who were gathering, information for me. I also went to the field myself, the critical persons that needed to be interviewed. For instance, at some point I had to interview Kollington Ayinla, who was a protege of Ayinla Omowura when he was alive. So I went to his house in Lagos. I also went to Abeokuta to meet some of the wives of the of Ayinla Omowura, the wives who are still alive. So I spoke with them and some other characters. I had to interview them myself. But most of the other, of course, I also had to do researches, went to the archives, University of Ibadan archives, read books and all that on Ayinla Omowura. And that was how it happened.
So far, what is the reception like?
I must confess to you. Look, let me begin by with the pessimism that was expressed by some of my friends who knew when I was writing the book. I have one of my friends who said, perhaps you shouldn't even do more than 200 copies because who would want to buy a book on a man who died 40 years ago? But I didn't allow that to deter me. And so when I did about 2,500 copies, and I must tell you that as I am now, I doubt if I have up to 300 copies of the book. Nigerians actually received it from me. Don't forget that I also, in the course of, was it last year I had to go to Philadelphia to present, matters that had to do with Ayinla Omowura at the, African Studies Association in Philadelphia. And for me, that was the zenith. When I had to, in the hall, while presenting the paper on Ayinla Omowura, I had to dance to his songs, and people really were excited. I felt so happy. I felt that the kind of renown, so to speak, that I've had post writing the book has increased tremendously. People see me now, and what they remember about me is Ayinla Omowura.
So this is the book. When next Festus Adedayo is in the studio, we will be unraveling the details of the book. So you can always get your copy. Go on udarabooks.com and get your copy. udarabooks.com. And you can send me a WhatsApp message on 080 18 449.